just answer it in your own minds. Who do you work with? Do you work with individuals? Do you work with small businesses? Maybe medium-sized companies? Or you work with large multinationals? Actually, it doesn't really matter who you work with. TotalSDI is a one-size-fits-all. Many well-known brands and organisations, I'm sure you'll recognise plenty here, have used TotalSDI in different ways. At IBM, for example, TotalSDI is used to support project management. In the US Army even, used for leadership development, and Twitter have been using SDI to improve their team effectiveness. So just take a moment to think how your clients' logos will look amongst these. You know, once they've been able to take advantage of the TotalSDI that we're making available to you. So in an organisation, TotalSDI helps with coaching, it helps with performance, skills training and organisational development. I'm going to share with you how TotalSDI addresses each of these areas. So in coaching, the assessments are used through individual assessments and through team assessments. TotalSDI assessments provide opportunities for discovery of self, help participants improve their own performance. And when interacting in a team setting, people are learning, of course, by getting feedback, getting exposure to the motives and values of the other people that they work with. And I'll be giving you some examples of how that comes to life through team activities very shortly. So sometimes trainers and consultants are working at skills training level, helping organisations design and customise training around things that the organisation is trying to engage. So conflict management, for example, team building, employee engagement, accountability, that sort of thing. And then sometimes consultants are working at whole organisational level, creating a culture change. So, for example, one consultant I know of is working with us in a change management scenario. And obviously, when people are motivated, they connect what they value to what they're doing, makes them more motivated and helps them to engage in their work. So that's really the culture of the TotalSDI. So you can see from this little model that TotalSDI allows consultants like you to touch a number of different avenues in organisational life. So hopefully you'll be able to see how that could fit in with what you do. So people who study behaviour identify 5 different areas that influence behaviour. One is through affect, very easy to remember, ABCD this. One is through affect, or the emotions that drive behaviour. So TotalSDI looks at 2 different emotional conditions. What we're like when things are going well, but also what we're like when we're facing conflict. Another area is through behaviours. Often behaviour is looked at without concern for what's actually causing the behaviours, and that of course is crucially important to understand. And TotalSDI includes a strengths portrait, the overdone strengths portrait which I've mentioned, which means you can look at behaviour specifically, look at strengths specifically, and even talk about how to specifically develop strengths. Cognition. This deals with how we collect and process information and use that information to make decisions. So TotalSDI gives some insight into that, looking at filters that we see ourselves and other people through, and really how those filters influence judgments and decisions, and they of course drive behaviours. Fourth, quite importantly, a unique insight TotalSDI gives us is the motives or the reasons that drive behaviour. Crucially important, of course. And finally, the environment that people find themselves in. Relationships, of course, we're all in relationships of different types, and TotalSDI gives understanding of what individuals are like in the environment of relationships. So the beauty of TotalSDI is that it allows specific analysis of behaviour and then utilises the combination of tools that we have to address the behaviour in an individual or in the behaviour and culture of a team. A little bit more theory. TotalSDI is grounded in something called relationship awareness theory, and there are four big ideas here. The first is that our behaviour is driven by motives. We need to understand what drives people to do what they do. You know, what drives you? What do you care about? Why do you do stuff? And think about the whole range of things that you do in a day, you know, at work, in your career, at your home, in your leisure time. We're all driven by motives. Secondly, that motives often change when we are faced with conflict. We tap into our motives differently when things aren't going well. How does the thing that drives you change if there's conflict? Do you do it less well, with less enthusiasm? Do you stop doing it altogether? Do you get resentful and obstructive? Third, strengths can be overdone. This is a unique aspect of SDI, TotalSDI, the idea that what we're good at and we excel in. Can what you do cloud or hinder the things that you do less well? What's the effect on others? And also that filters influence our perception. So each of us has a unique way in which we see things. Two people can be part of the same experience but have completely different perceptions of it. You know, how different are you from the people that you share your life with? So let's see what each of those looks like a little more practically. The first aspect of our theory, behaviour is driven by motives. So what do we mean by that? Well, we like this metaphor of a buoy. The buoy sitting on the water represents our behaviour. It's what's on the surface, it's what people see. It's affected by its environment, what goes on around it. In the case of a buoy, the water, the waves, a boat going by, a bird landing on the top. And so we're all affected in our daily lives by what goes on around us. And we can easily see what our reaction to those various things is. We can see what the reaction to the buoy is, the effects of everything that goes on around it. But the buoy and ourselves, we're anchored in some sort of reasoning which explains why we're doing what we do. It's what's under the surface. People don't see our reasons, our motives, our values. They don't understand our intentions. So it's important for us not to only understand what we see when we're observing someone's behaviour, but also to understand, you know, what anchors that behaviour, what keeps it in place. And that's the reason why people, of course, are doing things. As I said, our model is based on relationship awareness theory, and it says there are three primary motives that help explain why people do the things they do. So at times all of us are motivated by care and concern for people, a desire to help other people. At times we are motivated by performance, simply to achieve an outcome, you know, a result. And then sometimes we are motivated by process, a desire to find a way, an order, if you like, that's meaningful to us. But whilst we're motivated by all of those things, what makes us unique is that we all have our own unique way of being motivated by those things in blend, if you like. The way we use these motivations are different in all of us. We're not motivated by one thing at any one time, probably very, very likely a combination of those things. But how can that be measured, or assessed? So I think it's a case that most of you have taken the Total SDI before today, and as I said at the beginning, if you haven't, you need to let us know. And to get your results, schedule a debrief, and we'll give you the links to do that at the end of today. And I'm sure it will become crystal clear to you just how valuable the tools we have really are. So you'll be able to see your blend of motives, your combination, showing up as a dot in a particular part of this triangle, which we saw at the beginning of the slideshow, to show your unique combination of those three primary motives directing your behaviour. There are 5,000 different locations on the triangle, showing up in the 7 different regions that you can see there, going from blue through red down to green, and then a central hub. And the idea of those combinations is that you can be extremely specific about how people are motivated and the reasons behind that behaviour. It's much more valuable, right, than just a general idea of what makes a person tick. The specifics are very, very important. And then out of this you get your MVS, your Motivational Value System results. So one of the great features of TotalSDI is the software, the computer software that facilitators do have access to. They can control what they want their clients to see. A range of reports available for different purposes. So you can simply print out one page from the report, which will give you a sort of composite view, easy to use in workshops, not too much at once, very simple, straightforward, very easy to understand. Or you can move to a 4-page report with a little bit more detail, or the creme de la creme, a fantastically comprehensive 20-page report. See some small examples at the bottom of the page that give a highly personalised view and interpret all the statistics that you could possibly need. So would that be a useful way of helping your clients? I'm sure you can start visualising how versatile this might be and how it will actually fit in with what it is you do on a day-to-day basis. So these same results can be compiled and seen at a team level. So here's an example of what a team report looks like using the same triangle, and now you see we have a range of dots within that triangle showing each member of the team. And obviously you can have some important meaningful discussions around this. The team can start asking those questions. What drives us? What ways are we motivated? How are we different? What can we do to improve things? Filling the gaps. What's the impact of what I do on my team? How does this impact on what we're doing? So moving now on to a couple of other aspects of the theory, how strengths can be overdone, how filters influence our perception. So let us look at the strengths portrait to understand this. So the strengths portrait helps us to understand our filters, how we see ourselves, others, and our environment. So as I said, sort of motives guide our intentions and our behaviours. The challenge comes, of course, in relationships, because others only see behaviours, they don't understand the intention or the motives. Remember the boy example that I gave earlier. So from my personal perspective, I don't do jogging. I do other exercise, but I don't do jogging, it bores me. So when I see joggers out doing their thing, I can't really work out why they do it. I'm sure you've all got arguments as to why you do, if you do, but I can't really work out what it is that drives them to get their gear on and head out and do what I regard as a pretty boring task. So their behaviours make no sense to me, but of course this could cause conflict if I ask that question of them, their intentions, their motives in their behaviours are different from mine. And so because people don't see behaviour as meaning the same thing, they have their own definitions, their own meanings, attach their own understanding what they see, this can be problematic. So the strengths portrait results allow you to rank 28 different strengths based on frequency of use. So you'll see this little organisational table which has a lower number of boxes or rectangles at the top, moving down to the middle, and then going down to a lower number at the bottom. So I'll explain how this works. So let us choose the methodical strength at the top of this example for Eric Lawrence. So this means, methodical means that I am orderly in action, thought and expression. So there's a chance to compare this strength against the 27 other strengths, determine where I think that strength or the characteristic fits best based on what it is or most like you, most frequently used and valued by you. So Eric Lawrence gives methodical as his top ranked strength. So these are things that most like you, frequently used and valued. And then further down that chart, where the chart becomes longer lines of strengths, then these are the things that are somewhat like you, strengths that you use in particular situations. And then at the bottom, these are the strengths that are least like us, ones one actively avoid, or things that you have a discomfort with. So the portrait here provides insight into how to be more conscious about the strengths that you're using and what strengths you'd like to develop. So you might be avoiding strengths, for example, not using them because you don't feel that they work particularly well. So one way we like to use the strengths portrait is working with teams. So we have this particular exercise that is a particular favourite, how I see it. So what we do here is to create a human strengths portrait on the floor. You can see that in the little sort of inset example there, created by team members. So we have on one side of the room representing row 9, which is the highest ranking of the strength here in this example, loyal, and the opposite side represents row 1. So what happens here is that the girl standing there in the foreground, let's call her Alice. Let's call her Alice. So Alice is standing next to 9. So she says that loyal is her top strength. Okay. So Alice stands next to the number 9 spot. Everyone else would then stand next to they would stand next to the strength that most identifies, well, for example, loyal. They would show where loyal fits in their pattern of strengths, and so you'll be able to see how loyal, fits within the whole team. Alice places it as her top strength. More of the team members here, for example, place it slightly lower down, ranking it 5th. So then the team can, of course, identify what their top strength is, why it's important, why they use it effectively, and you can start examining then where the strengths in your team are, how you might be adjusting those strengths to make the team work more effectively. So that team scenario is also a good place to start introducing the question, what does it look like when you do too much of a strength, when you overdo a strength? So we use this metaphor of a set of speakers. I'm a little too old to enjoy very, very loud music, I think, certainly from my neighbours these days. So it's great to listen at a certain volume, but when it's turned up too loud in the early hours of the morning, I'm not really interested. But my neighbours can overdo their music sometimes. We can all overdo a behaviour to a point that it becomes unproductive, too loud for everybody around us. So the overdone strengths are behaviours intended as strengths, but because they're perceived negatively by other people, they can cause conflict. So what we're saying about overdone strengths, it isn't a deficiency, but it is seen by others as a weakness, and it becomes a source of conflict, too much of a good thing, if you like. So again, the overdone strengths portrait, like the strengths portrait, overdone strengths are ranked from highest to lowest based on frequency that the particular strength is overdone. So in this example, Eric Lawrence finds that he can often do the methodical strength too much, and then that translates to being rigid. So framing the feedback in this way is extremely effective in facilitating conflict management. So again, there you can see that you can rank the top overdone strengths in exactly the same way as was the case before, the middle overdone strengths and then the bottom overdone strengths. And again, looking to make adjustments, alterations and adaptations to improve behaviours. So I want to talk a little about conflict, how motives change when conflict is happening. So I'm sure we'd all agree that conflict is destructive. It's not helpful at all. It costs time and it costs money. So we use TotalSDI to help us understand not only how motives look when things are going well, but also what happens when conflict occurs and how motives change. So you're able to show by the dot and arrow system how conflict actually changes between team members and also in individuals. We have three motives in conflict, of course. Sometimes we try a strategy that accommodates another party to try to keep the peace, preserve harmony. Or at some time we might decide that we want to assert our point of view, move through the conflict and move on. We might try to prevail over the obstacles in our way, or we might decide the best approach is to step back, analyse the situation so we have a better understanding of what strategy to use to resolve the conflict. So again, we have the complete SDI results which can show the conflict issues in an individual or in a team, and again you can go for the 1, the 4 or the 20-page formats if you're a facilitator with us, and they really do provide great starting points for coaching either on an individual basis, team or organisational wide training. Very versatile. So you can see how the entire team of individuals interacts and operates you know, in the team SDI triangle. So here you can see in this particular example how the teams, each individual member in the team shifts in conflict. A very graphic and clear example of where people go, and then of course the reasons behind perhaps why they do that. And then of course the key is to capture in, seal in the learning, create a commitment from the team. If you know what you found out, what are we going to do things better? And some conflict is preventable, some is just inevitable, but the insights can help address all of that. So yes, you know, ideas about what your team has been able to learn, what they're actually going to do, you know, to improve things, to make things work with a little more harmony. So I hope I've given you a clear picture of the assessments that TotalSDI can offer for you, how consultants are trained to use them. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information now about how you can actually work with us. So it comes down to a relationship, as I said at the beginning. We've been developing these tools now and the research for the last 45 years. And if you become a facilitator and a trainer with us, then there's a whole series of tools that we're able to provide for you and you can access so that we can start building relationship together with you. So the facilitator manual, first of all, which will give you the information, the history, the science, even a step-by-step example course, so you can design a great program for your clients. You also get a supplemental manual that's got other assets, activities and experiences that you can use to bring all of this to life. There's the TotalSDI platform. So here you can have access to all of the slides you will need for a successful coaching or training time with your teams, with your individuals, with your organisations. And you also have private access to Facilitator Source, where you can actually set up and run your own courses, take care of your participants, and there's a whole load of other tools there to help you feel confident as a presenter, articles, video content and that kind of thing. By the way, at your debrief you'll hear an opportunity to get a demonstration of the Facilitator Source. So what it actually looks like to set up classes. Get into the store, see the video content that's there to support you so you can see what it really looks like. So please do follow up today and book that debrief if you haven't had that already or got that lined up. And also at Facilitator Source you will have access to the online store where you can purchase all the materials you need for your events and your training. We've done all the hard work for you, so what you get from us is accurate assessments, assessments that are reliable and they are valid. Clear concepts, so things that people can actually grab onto and use when they communicate with each other, and that helps them connect at work as well. You've seen examples of the triangles. It is all very clear, and when you see it in reality it's crystal clear really. Engage in experiences, so getting the results off the black and white page, the coloured triangle page if you like, and using them in a practical way, because you know you need to get this operational in practice. It's very, very important. It's not just looking at it on a page or on a screen. And you have immediate implementation, so you can set up and run your courses and sessions straight away, from one person through 10-person teams, even a room of a couple of hundred people. Fully customizable to fit exactly with the needs, your unique needs, and the needs of your clients, of course. So by purchasing a TotalSDI license and attending a 2-day workshop or a virtual certification, we'll come to that in a second, you can become one of our facilitators and start delivering these assessments, becoming one of our partners. So that will involve an investment of just $2,099 USD. That includes a 2-day workshop at our headquarters in Singapore. Or you can opt for our virtual certification, which brings the price down a little bit, saving you obviously in travel time and travel costs, and a reduction of $300 on that main SDI license price. So that enables you to get certified from anywhere you are, saving on those costs of travel. Exactly the same package, but delivered on a virtual basis. So which of those would be best for you? Either the 2-day workshop in Singapore or the virtual course. So as a thank you for attending the webinar, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're offering a special $250 voucher, which you can use when purchasing our assessments. So when you're certified as a facilitator, our relationship continues to grow. So we value those relationships, and we would value you as a partner, and know that you want to protect your business. So the TotalSDI assessments are only sold through our partners. We have a wholesale pricing policy. Our pricing is not published, and the wholesale pricing policy is only available to our partners. So there's a bit of freedom in pricing. You control it. Many facilitators of ours buy at wholesale, and depending on the client may charge them a retail price. And we also offer discount pricing if multiple facilitator licenses are needed. You can purchase credits for materials when you're in the online store, and the team here at PSP is able to give you 90 days of free coaching when you get certified. Again, the object here is to ensure that you feel confident in using all of these tools. Now, we do have a book. If you want to gain a better understanding of TotalSDI's approaches and the concepts before you certify, you know, working with SDI is a great tool to help you understand a little more what it is the TotalSDI products can help you with. Fantastic book, covers an awful lot of groundwork, and we have a special online price available for our webinar participants, just $49, and we get that to you just in 7 days. So next steps, again, reiterating what I've said a couple of times now, if you have not taken the TotalSDI Strengths Portrait and Overdone Strengths Portrait, please get in touch with us so that can be done, and then schedule a debrief to follow up. So that will give us an opportunity to know a little bit more about you, how you will be using TotalSDI, and answer all the additional questions that I'm sure you'll have. And additionally, you can use your discount pricing to register for the up-and-coming training, joining with us as a partner. We would like very much to help you and introduce you fully to what we have available to assist you. So follow up, please feel free to use the message box, and we'll ensure that we answer those questions for you. Expect a follow up from Alvin or from Balaji. The workshop dates, if you want to jot them down, I'll leave that up there for a second or two. April 17th to the 18th, July 24th to the 25th, October 23rd to 24th, and again, yeah, Naresh has been on. Yes, we'll get those details to you, Naresh, no problem. Email the team at admin@totalsdi.info. We'll be happy to liaise with all of you. And thank you very much for the time you've given to me today. We do appreciate the time that you give up. I hope very much that it's been instructive and helpful. And do follow up with our team. They'll be making contact with you to check that you've enjoyed things, a little bit of feedback on the webinar today, just to make sure that we're covering the issues that you need covered, and that it's meeting you know, what our potential clients need. So thank you all very much indeed, and hopefully we'll be speaking with you very soon. Thank you, Farah, for your comment particularly. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.